Television viewers of TV PLBC 1991 Manchester Services Hong Kong to alive energy election. Thursday's officials intellectually over office on major national issues.
Good morning, police of the media. I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister to officially take charge and speak on issues, after which we will invite the Minister of Information and our guest, Mr. Sandro. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Good afternoon to Liberians who are following the press conference via social media, community radio stations, EFBC from across the country. We want to welcome all of you to this edition of the press. Today is the 11th day of December 2025, and as the year draws to a close, the country continues to record remarkable progress. We are happy for the leadership His Excellency President Waka continues to exercise in steering the affairs of our dear country. We want to, on behalf of the senior management team of the Ministry of Information, welcome the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, Councillor Jerolinmek. We also want to welcome Minister Justicia J. Tapla, Deputy Minister for Rural Development at the Ministry of Public Works. The two individuals are here to purposely lay out, in the case of Minister Bangaro, you are hearing about the annual National County Sports Meet. It's going to provide you major updates and developments around that event. Right now, so I'm sure he has all of the important things to say about it. Please give me your undivided attention. Let us start admiring the corridor. We continue to remind you this is a premier platform where the government communicates. The press conference starts, and the whole nation is following. You keep talking in the background. It doesn't show organization. So as I was saying, Minister Bangaro has not been here for a while now, so I'm very certain that he has a couple of other development that he will share with the public related to the workings of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. For the Deputy Minister for Rural Development from the Ministry of Public Works, she's here to talk about the upcoming Liberia National Infrastructure Conference. A conference that has been held in the month of December. They have been pushed to January. She will announce the new date for the whole of this conference and to say all the important things surrounding the infrastructure conference. Other than that, we would now want to firstly invite Minister Jerolinmek Piah to the podium. He will speak to issues from a broader perspective of the progress of the government, and then he will be followed by the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, who will speak, and then the Deputy Minister of Public Works will talk about the National Infrastructure Conference. And then, as usual, we'll make the press conference interactive by entertaining some of the questions. So, at this juncture, I have the distinguished honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Information, Honorable Jerolinmek, to appear at the microphone.
All right, let me say good afternoon to you members of the press. I formally welcome you to your usual routine. Very Tuesdays and Thursdays, the media press briefing. I will also add my voice to Mr. Pando in welcoming my colleague, Minister of Youth and Sports, and Deputy Minister Tata from the Ministry of Public Works. If the government of Liberia was interested in grading itself, and I had to be concerned about that, or leading or driving the grading system, I will award Ministry of Public Works, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, with the grade of A. And as a spokesman of the government, that perspective that I carry, I guess it's the same with the one to whom we are answerable, the one who can determine whether we are performing or we are not performing, the one who will serve at his will and pleasure. So we continue to entertain all that we come from, all of you in this hall, you represent different media institutions. I look forward to seeing how you grade each of the ministers. So we reflect and decide to do our own thing. Oh, don't be worried about it. We are here. And where is there any doubt, let me put it this way, amongst anybody in this country, that one of the sectors that we can just wake up in the morning, knock our chest about and be proud of what they're doing, with the massive rural development process across the country will be the Ministry of Public Works. So they shouldn't be worried because they get COP. As soon as they start being worried about those kind of things, then they'll be funding themselves in a way that will distract their focus from what they're supposed to do. That's a star-performing institution that is helping to give me, as a spokesman of the government, the face I need to say, yes, this government that I'm speaking for is performing. And I believe that should remain our focus. Right now, as I speak, the ministry has started laying a brand new portion of the road leading to Lofa County. From Saraye, targeting straight Konian, then to Vonjima, they've started doing actual pavement. If you live on the Bushro Island at Maine, and you're coming from beyond Douala, you know they're developing properly the drainage, doing the earthwork on the road, and they will begin to spread the asphalt on that road straight to where we're supposed to take it, in what we eventually up to Waterside and Tottenham. They commence the bidding process, which I will talk about from the road to from Barclayfield to Southtown. Even the person whose home is to leave the country for 6 years, they didn't think about that. They're doing that. So I want to say, as we start, that these are institutions that we're very proud of. These are people who are making our time in government to shine. These are people we continue to support to deliver on the promises that we made to the Liberian people. Yesterday, our country was reaffirmed for MCC Compact. MCC is the Millennium Challenge Corporation, a U.S. entity. I remember sometime last year, this year, was it December last year? Yes, December last year, Liberia was affirmed for a second compact. And rather than celebrating that affirmation as a country, if you went back into your archives, you will see that a certain group of Liberians got extremely angry about the country's electability. Not only that they were angry, they said that quote-unquote second compact was dead on arrival. Why did they say so? Beyond their anger, they were trying to hinge on the fact that there was a transition in the U.S. from one government to another. And many of them firmly believe that what was done by the government that has transitioned will not be honored. And therefore, it didn't make any sense to them that we, as a government, were celebrating our achievement. They didn't want it. Today I see them lazily trying to claim part of the success. We laid the foundation. What foundation you laid? Just the fact that the word reaffirmation was used, it means whatever was achieved at that time was put into a different kind of evaluation. How do we know that? 6 of the countries that were affirmed along with us, in this second affirmation, they did not get reaffirmed. They were dropped. So even though they were affirmed, whatever joy and celebration and excitement they had about that compact has vanished in thin air because they were dropped. The new administration in the U.S. elevated the indicators from 20 to 22. And did a completely new set of assessments. And on account of those assessments, Liberia was reaffirmed for Compact 2. What does that mean? It means that our country and the MCC people will begin the process of working on the interventions that we want the Compact 2 to focus on. When we work on the projects, and both parties agree on the projects, then the costing comes in. That is not much of a problem for us. We're not too concerned about that. And the reason is simple. MCC compact money is a grant. It's not loan. So it's a money they give you that you don't have to pay back. In other words, gift. So if somebody giving you how to be too worried about how much it is. If they gave you 300 million, that's plenty of free money. If they gave you 200 million, that's plenty of free money. If they give you 500, 600, the more the merrier. So we get to that point where we get to know what that amount is. But as we work towards that, and before we get there, we know one thing. That all the things we want to do, whether it's with roads, whether it's energy, education, health care, we know we now have another layer or an additional cushion of funding that will aid what we're already doing in this country. Don't forget, just last week, or perhaps this week, on Tuesday, we told you what the implications of the People for Agreement will be. Expanded road network in Western Liberia to include from Menikoba to Von German in Lofa County. So check it, you get 300 million, 400 million, whatever it is, from the MCC Compact 2. It means some corridors that have not been fully guaranteed now have sources of funding to see progress being made. As we're making this progress, one of the things we heard the people say, well, we passed compact before, so that I just say, but why you do we pass compact? But I just told you that 6 countries that passed compact that were a friend in the first time, they just got dragged. So even if you pass compact, the human being can execute MCC grants. And the lead figure responsible for that is the Ministry of Finance. Anybody in the refuge man believe that even if you were to pass triggers or indicators, and the poor are going to give you their money, when the same country was sanctioning the Minister of Finance who was responsible for spearheading MCC, you ought to be dreaming to think so. That they will give you their money when multiple officials from your country, Minister of State, Minister of this other official, port director, mayor of the city, you name them, were in those being sanctioned, and you thought that they will invest their money in. Because, quote unquote, you thought you passed one trigger. All that thing you did about trigger, about that, they became vanity. Because they were compromised by the conduct of your officials who were in charge of the country who were eventually sanctioned by that same country. So when we approach this process, the truth is, we're really starting anew. And because we started anew, where we are today is attributable to just one group of people. The current government in charge of the country, led by the Unity Party. This is something that we know. This is it's some, I call it guy. Fremont? I call it guy who sang in my area. Everybody get a hero. Geo Fremont. So running a government that attracts international assistance at UP government area. This is compared to, friends, not compared to one. It's happening the second time. So undoubtedly, our area. We commend our dear president, whose overall leadership and supervision is leading us into these positive achievements. If it's somebody who comes from the church, then see this MCC process this way. As the naysayers, the agents of doom were saying, don't celebrate because you're not getting anything, you get a new government, you're whatever, they didn't get that for that thing you're doing. Which means that they were proclaiming compact to dead on arrival. Then the Lazarus was made to resurrect. This is a political and economic restoration. What they thought was dead is alive. And the life in what we have now will add on to what we intend to do to move the country in the direction that we imagined before. Thank Minister Gafuan and his team. I listened to one talk show host who spent time and energy attacking this minister, calling him names. Brought that person who is a good friend making broad day confession last night. And really praises of Minister Gafuan. And confessing in other ways, making the same point I'm making, that the UP knows how to win compact. So this man who, in the eye of the person, was a devil, all of a sudden was seen as an angel last night. That's what happens when you are focused. When you are not distracted by things that people say about you. If your conscience, if it is clear and you know what you're doing, you simply remain focused on what you're doing. And then, like the people normally say, that there are fruits which are loaded. And I'm sure by the fruits of the UP-led government, especially on this front with Minister Gafuan taking the lead, you now know your country is being governed by a group of very serious people, knowledgeable, who do exactly what they're supposed to do to government. So no matter how those who were here yesterday, who failed the people, no matter how they hear about certain things, yes, maybe you can listen to them, but just side and keep your focus. Don't forget that just before we got the MCC affirmation yesterday, a distinguished foreign minister was in Washington. And she was signing a $124 million MOU with the U.S. State Department. The first in West Africa. Because they've done two earlier on the African continent, but it was with Rwanda and Kenya. I mean, just sit back a little bit and think on what is happening. When the new US president wanted to see just a handful of leaders, he chose 5. Amongst that 5, one came from West Africa. It was Liberia. For 3 MOUs they've signed on the African continent with regard to the health sector, one came from West Africa, again Liberia. I saw some of the people doing the grading saying they gave the president. President who getting MCC, who getting health support, who getting IOC reaffirmed. President who met the greatest president on earth just a few days in office. President under whose leadership we are now part of the elite group of leaders at the UN, which is the Security Council. Like I said, giving Co-Bangaro A. If I was grading that president guy A plus and plus, somebody sees it differently. We respect that different opinion. Yes, we respect it, but we don't agree with it. Because we know what is happening in our country. Let me start. One, we want to commend Minister Beslo Nyati, who's been on the front line. Yes, the president is the chief foreign policy architect of the country. Just as he's the chief for every sector, whether infrastructure or whatever. But he has designated individuals that he vetted and that the Senate concurred with to lead these sectors. They are performing. Minister Beslo is of no exception, and she's been doing great on that front. The health system of our country is something we know that though it is progressing, we got to keep doing more to lift it at the highest height. And any additional intervention that targets those kinds of areas, health, education, roads, energy, it's good for the country, and we'll continue to stretch ourselves to keep getting. So that by the time the period you gave us is over, we will have left behind an indelible mark of success that all of our people will look back to and say, indeed the government we chose was the right government. So that partnership, which will be for a period of 5 years, outlines a substantial investment towards improving public health outcomes in Liberia. And like we said to you earlier, it provides a total of $124+ million in planned U.S. government support over a 5-year period to support expanded disease surveillance, rapid outbreak response, strengthening national and regional laboratory systems, supply chain modernization for medicines and essential health commodities, deployment and upskilling of frontline healthcare workers nationwide, development of integrated digital health information systems, and strategic investment in maternal, child, and infectious disease services. The Minister of Public Works, the Deputy Minister Jerolinmek should talk about it, but we thought to elevate it that the ministry successfully conducted the official opening of contractors bid, and I mean the Ministry of Public Works, for the Bagley Bay to Southtown Road project. And we're talking about asphalt pavement. In simple and very English, we're talking about Kota Road. That action marks a major step towards the procurement and commission for the 50-kilometer priority section funded by the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, EBID, through the Government of India line of credit. The bid opening process ensures transparency, fairness, and adherence to national and donor procurement requirements. It is a milestone in selecting a qualified contractor to undertake the strategic road investment in Grand Prix County, the home county of former President Jerolinmek. For the period the former president was leading the country, by his side was a political party. And a young man led the party as the chairman throughout that period. Even though this young person was on record for saying some of the nastiest of things about the former president, was caught live on tape. In the Western world, when those things happen, you stand as a man or a woman, hinge on integrity and walk away. What transpired during that period will happen nowhere in the developed world and the person stays in their position. But no, left out of those circles are not possible. So they were hinged on. Immediately, that party was whipped in an election. Former chairman of that party quickly wore another garment, produced an auxiliary of the party, and he refers to as a civil society organization. And if you listen to what they've done, if you follow what they've been doing since their advent, perhaps they are the main voice of the former ruling party. They busy themselves with inflammatory comments. They busy themselves with threats of protests, disorder, chaos, and lawlessness. That's all you see them doing. No tangible proposals or comments on how the country gets better. They begin so unprofessional that when they claim that there was a fire situation at their own headquarters or whatever they call it, outside of the acceptable norms of investigation, they will declare what the cause of the fire was, even with zero expertise in what they're talking about. But in a rather crazy style, they will even include the fact that there was an attack from the regime. The regime attacked you for waiting. Who are you? Why must anybody even think about attacking you? To prove what? So he's been all over the place, making unfounded claims, interfering in what is happening in neighboring countries, making conclusions about electoral processes in those countries, even though he was not represented there, he didn't know what was happening there. And as a way of trying to sow discourse, he is offering speculative comments that there's a blueprint here for what has happened in those countries, and that an election that still got 4 years to come in 2029 is already rigged. These gangsteristic behaviors meant to undermine the peace of the country will not rest on fertile soil. So as a government, will continue to expose individuals like those whose only thought process is that once they are not in power, nothing should happen. And that our people don't even deserve the right to go about their businesses, even as we approach a festive season. And all that they should hear from them is threats of violence, threats of protest, insinuations, that are inflammatory, most times speculative, unfounded, with zero basis, basically coming from a loud talker who talks no substance. I think that's a way to keep relevant and remain in the news cycle. And unfortunately, they are hated by all of you. They talk garbage in, garbage out, you lift it. So they feel emboldened to do all of this now. You were here 6 years ago. You cheer your party. The rest of it is history. Auditors die. Drugs being dumped here. Roads, energy, healthcare system, education, all sectors abandoned. You are basically under fiesta. The leader could leave the country for up to 50 or more days, including attending things that mattered zero to the country. Well, somebody go and sit down in one country to watch football game because there's some play there. What benefit did it bring to that people? When you are there, you are chilling. You're quiet. You are aiding and abetting. Today you think you have a voice. There's no moral qualification for that voice you think you have. That voice represents nothing but chaos and anarchy. And you have to leave the Liberian people alone to live and celebrate in peace. The Ministry of Education is conducting a nationwide teacher and school leader well-being survey to gather critical data that will directly inform teacher support programs, leadership development, and education reform in 2026. All teachers and school leaders are strongly encouraged to complete the survey, which can be found on the ministry's website and their social media page before the deadline of December 31st, 2025. Note that your responses will help shape policies on well-being, workload, motivation, leadership challenges, and working conditions across Liberia in the educational sector. In a related development, the ministry has marked a significant milestone with the groundbreaking of Liberia School of the Plant Extension Project in Brooklyn, an important step towards expanding access and dignity for visually impaired learners. Aligned with the arrest agenda and financed through a public sector investment project, PSRP, the extension will provide modern, accessible classrooms, improved dormitories, and specialized learning facilities to better support students' academic and personal development. The Minister of Education, Dr. Jaso Mali Jala, underscored that the investment reflects Liberia's commitment to equity and to ensuring that no child is left behind in the nation's development journey. The project represents a reaffirmation of Liberia's role to build an educational system where every learner can thrive. Still got a lot more to present, but we got two other speakers And we don't believe it is a fair thing to bring our guests here and we don't give them enough chance to engage with you. So we'll hold the rest of it for the next press conference. As I now invite the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports who will speak to the press.
Thank you very much, Minister Piah. Thanks to the Ministry of Information family. Thanks for introducing the one government, one communication, one message, one platform, one goal initiative. And thanks to you, distinguished members of the press, for being here today. Like Minister Piah said, it's been a while. And this is so because over the period we have had our able lieutenants, the deputy ministers, and the ministry engage with you directly. That is our leadership style, where those who are directly superintending the department feed you periodically with information so as not to present a situation that sees only the minister as the one working at the ministry. And so today I will bring you a few updates on developments at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I will begin with developments from the Department of Technical Vocational Education and Training. Over the past few weeks, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Forum for African Women Educationalists Liberia, FAWI, in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation to sponsor 36 girls into Tibet at the Morovia Vocational Training Center. The objective of this partnership is to enroll students, most especially girls, for vocational and entrepreneurship programs at MVTC and to complement government's efforts to increase access to higher education through the Higher Education Access Certification Program. On today, the Ministry of Youth and Sports will sign an MOU with the Terra Agri-Tumutu Agricultural Vocational Center, owned by the Ministry of Youth and Sports and located in Salala, One campus. The objective of this partnership will be to assemble agricultural equipment locally to reduce costs and increase access, certify youth in vocational skills tied to agriculture and equipment maintenance, embed grade-based interest and capacity adjusted pricing logic in contract agriculture, reinvest revenue into youth training, equipment maintenance, and facility update. Stay under the Department of Tibet. If you were driving from ELWA or from ELWA Junction towards the Robert Nananda Airport, just before the SKD Post Complex, you will see a building there that is newly constructed. It is called the National Hospitality Training Hotel. That training facility is owned by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It will be dedicated in a few days' time. It is through the sponsorship of the EU, the European Union, through UNIDO. And it is constructed to serve as a training arm for our own vocational training institute, which is referred to as the Business Domestic Occupational Training Center, which is a school that has 96% women enrollment and is located just at the SKG Post Complex. The National Hospitality Training Hotel will be run through a public-private partnership for both training and commercial operations, and we achieve the following objectives. One, ensure the operational and financial sustainability of the Business Domestic Occupational Training Center, the BDOTC. Provide qualified, contractually binding training opportunities for students, including 50 students per training cycle with at least 30% female participation. It will also enhance the instructor's capacity through mandatory involvement in hotel management. I take you to the Department of Youth Development. A few weeks ago, the government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, launched the National Service Program. That program now became the premier youth program, engagement program, and it replaced the coastal sanitation and beach cleaning program, or the beach and waterway program. The program now has 8 components. Over the past weeks, the ministry has, under the component that deals with supplying educational materials under the President's Back to School initiative, distributed over 1,000 school bags with essential educational material to 1,000 school-going children across 40 communities in Montserrat County. Under the component that has to do with literacy and numeracy, approximately 150 youths are currently participating in the 6-month literacy and numeracy training program in Bopolu City, Bapolu County. A total of 230 present youths have been recruited, vetted, and are set to be assigned as cadets in Montserrat, Grand Bassa, Maryland, Riverside, Bombing, Bapolu, Grand Cape Mount, and Lofa counties. Recruitment of over 300 youths for small-scale grants is ongoing in Montserrat, Lofa, Nima, Bong, Magibi, and Grand Jida counties. Through partnership with a group called the Luminous Fund, Banga, Sankole, and Topmanburg. So if you were to visit our youth centers in Ganta, Sankole, and Banga, you will see active activities, training program going on for these youths, either in tailoring, in soap making, in pastry, in different kinds, and also there's active literacy and numeracy program ongoing there. We have also, over the period, provided support to institutions that are delivering services to at-risk youth programs. One such institution that has been very remarkable is the institution. One institution that has been so remarkable is the Journey Against Violence that is in Mambaki. We have provided some support to them, as well as 4 other centers that are providing different kinds of activities for at-risk youth. We also would like to inform you that currently, under the task force on drugs and substance abuse, there are about 200 youths that are held at the Ultra-Piracy Johnsonville Holding Center that are undergoing the process of medical treatment, because the health ministry deployed and stationed a health center there, and they are being treated and getting ready for rehabilitation. The whole idea is, upon their completion of those processes, there will be transition for those who have the aptitude for vocational education, will be transitioned into vocational training programs. In the next few weeks, we will dedicate a modern state-of-the-art, for the first time, government-owned rehabilitation center in Bentor City, Montserrat County. The facility, which is about 96% finished, will be able to host up to 192 youths at a given cycle. It's intended to help them, deploy them to perform services, to work actively for 3 to 6 months, so that when they go for interview, that question of where have you worked before will be answered. We dedicated and commissioned digital floodlights at the SKD Sports Complex. The floodlights are digital, meaning we have graduated from using the analog lighting system. It is FIFA compliant because it is 1,500 lux, which surpass FIFA's 1,200 lux. And it will now ensure that night games will be played at the SKD Sports Complex. This is one thing that was lacking since 2018. We want to thank His Excellency the President for the support to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, for the support and ensuring that the project on lighting the stadium is 100% funded by the Piah and Co administration. A few weeks ago, the government of Liberia signed a memorandum of understanding with the Serbian government that will now ensure that a FIFA licensed coach will be sent by the Serbian government to coach our national team, the senior national team, the Lone Star, the male national team. I want to commend the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for being instrumental to work along with us to ensure that that deal was consummated. So That means the senior national team, the Lone Star male team, will soon be managed by a Serbian professional FIFA licensed A coach. The National County Sports Meet is one of the main reasons I'm here. We would like to announce to you that the annual National County Sports Meet for 2025-2026 will commence this weekend, precisely on Saturday, where the grand opening match will be played in the host city, Harper, Maryland County. On Saturday, December 13th, there will be one match across Liberia, only one match. And that match will be played in Harper, Maryland County. Maryland versus Grand Crew. That will serve as the opening match for the National County Sports Meet. Just like last year, when we had the opening event in Robertsport, Grand Cape Mount County, this year, Harper was selected. And this is all consistent with the theme of the National County Sports Meet, inclusive development through sports. Our aim is to decentralize the county meet and to allow counties across the country to serve as hosts for the county meet. And like we said to Great Cape Mount County last year, gone are the days when we will go and stage a county meet, perhaps at the Vonderman Public School field, and we use palm touches to serve as fans, and at the end of the day, we leave the place in that kind of condition. Under this administration, we announced that development will have to accompany the hosting. And so we collaborate with the host county to ensure massive improvement of the facility. So last year, Great Cape Mount County on their own were able to do the surface work on their field. They were able to build a mini stadium. We supplied all of the bucket seats, and we also, in partnership with the Football Association, supplied the artificial turf, including the dugout seats that have been transported already to Robertsport for installation. That is what this government is, and that's what we intend to replicate throughout our hosting of county meetings. So our dream would be that the Harper Stadium will not remain as it is after the county meetings. But even prior to hosting, the counties have been very, very, very supportive. Prior to hosting, prior to giving the right to Bapolu to host, for information, Bapolu City will be hosting one of the zones. Prior to giving the right, there was no field one could see in Bapolu. But the local authorities, including the lawmakers, they took up the challenge. If you were to go now in Bapolu City, you will see a field that has a stadium that has been constructed over the past few weeks. You will see a field that has perfect surface laid out. You will see a field that has inner fence and outer fence. That is development, and that's what we want to encourage throughout these processes. Just to recap, the counties are grouped as follows. Group A, Maryland County, River Cess, Grand Crew, and River G. The host county, Maryland, the city, Apple. Group B, Nima County, Bombing County, Sano County, Margibi County. The host county, Nima, host city, Saninkole. And just to throw a little light on Nima, Nima County will on Saturday be dedicating the second stadium with artificial turf, named the Floyd Sir Thomas Stadium, and is going to coincide with the hosting of the county meet that will start on Sunday. I want to say hats off to Nima County for taking up the challenge. So in addition to the Ganta City Stadium that has artificial turf, Saninkole, the Floyd Thomas Stadium will also have artificial turf. Group C we have Grand Bassa, Grand Jide, Lofa, and Grand Cape Mount. Host county, Grand Bassa. Host city, Buchanan. In Group D, we have Bapolu, Bon, and Montserrat. Host county, Bapolu City, Bopolu City. That is the update for the National County Post meeting. We'd like to assure you that all is set. We have begun deploying all of our match officials, the referees, the match commissioners, the statisticians, the scorekeepers. We have provided their DSAs and their match indemnities, and like I said, they are all being deployed at the various venues. We want to reiterate that in keeping with our policy since we took over, which was highlighted in the number of workshops that we conducted with the match officials, the hallmark of the entire county meet will be fair play. Fair play. No match official will be allowed to do the unorthodox. No match official will go unpunished should it be established that they favor a particular team or a county, thereby jeopardizing our tournament that the government has so much invested in. For the level of professionalism, we want them to continue in all disciplines that will include football, kickball, and basketball. Once more, I say thank you, Honorable Minister, for the platform, and I wish you good viewing of the county meet as you will be deploying at the various sites. Thank you. God bless.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. And as the previous speaker said, we are on our way to transformative infrastructure development, and that's what I'm here to discuss. My duty here today is to bring you news from the Liberian National Infrastructure Conference Clinical Meeting that I'm the coordinator for, and the Minister of Public Works, Jerolinmek Lafayette Edens, is the chair, supported by other line ministries and agencies. Why the conference? So this conference, as we are our fairly transformative junction for our national development, this conference is going to address infrastructure challenges to unlock economic and social and environmental benefits. So we have what the conference did. The conference did an analysis of the Africa Agenda for 2063, the SDGs goals that will end in 5 years, and the arrest agenda for inclusive development, and try to align each item with those agendas. If you are familiar with African Agenda 2063, you know that aspiration was to a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, and we tie it to SDG 9 and SDG 13 that said industrial innovation and infrastructure, enhancing infrastructure for economic development, and human well-being, and SDG Tech Team, that's a climate action, integrating climate resilience into infrastructure development. So most of what we do now, we'll always be linking it with climate resilience. And for the areas, we have roads, agriculture, and sanitation. For aspiration 2, we have integrated continental world-class infrastructure. SDG 11 says we must make our cities sustainable. So last I was here, I told you that one of the discussions we'll be having is spatial development in urban cities and housing. So you see that we are totally aligned. And I think from what I heard from the Minister of Information is that Education Ministry is doing a survey to see how they can make the teachers' life more sustainable by providing whatever social infrastructure they can provide. And this conference seeks to address that, how we can utilize our local resources for modalities of international financing to support development for social infrastructure that includes schools, hospitals, as well as housing facilities. On aspiration 6 for the African Agenda for Transformation, we have development that provide people-driven, actually addressing youth and gender empowerment, and education and housing for and the rule of law under that. But we'll be looking at buildings, how we can make our buildings more environmental friendly by using green, gray, and green architecture. So Overall is doing a lot of reform, but we have to sit down with some experts, international partners, international experts, for us to discuss how this is possible, outline a roadmap at the end of this program to outline how we can roll out these development agendas for our national development. So this, as we are aware, we said to you the last time, the program is for 5 days. And highlight of the day, the opening ceremony will be by His Excellency the President, Ambassador Joseph Walker Sr., and he'll be giving a keynote address based on our theme, rebranding, rebuilding Liberia through reconstruction. Rebranding, rebuilding Liberia through reconstruction. Rebranding, rebuilding Liberia through reconstruction. We are in the process of rebranding Liberia. Liberia has been known for a lot of negative things in the media and on the national and international scene. So we are going to rebrand Liberia, and we are going to see how we can rebuild Liberia. We are in a process. We are doing a lot of new roles through public-private partnerships and through other modalities from our international partners. So we are rebuilding a lot. So most of the construction you see happening around, we do a lot of infrastructure development, but we are going to do that through reconstruction. That is why we say rebranding, rebuild Liberia through reconstruction, and that is throughout our infrastructure development. So day 2, we said we'll discuss housing and its energy. Day 2 is for energy. And you will see that the MCC Compact is mostly driven towards energy. Energy have a whole portfolio that they call it the Energy Compact 300. And that compact discusses all of the means that we need to have energy. So one of the outcomes of this infrastructure development is to come up with a book. Before the conference, we will have a book on development, for infrastructure development for the country. And we have done that for the mining sector, we did it for the road sector, we did it for the energy sector, we did it for water and sewer. And because portion of the water supply system is for public works and LWSC, so we also combine what our targets are to improve water and sanitation in rural communities. So that booklet will take into consideration all the business opportunities that you can have in Liberia when it comes to infrastructure development. So you look at energy and transport infrastructure, that we're not looking at transportation from what you once you say transportation is only roads, and road is beyond transportation. We're talking about air, water, transportation. So transportation includes the free port of the road, we call transport days, the ports, the water, means of transport, and the civil aviation, along with the 2 airports, RI and space, to sit on our panel to discuss how we can improve transportation. Utilities and telecommunication. Infrastructure cannot be discussed without utilities and telecommunication. We are in a digital world, and we must look at how we can improve digital connectivity for all Liberians. how can we make sure that the woman who sits in Bogonima in our office in this job is for the lady that sits in Bogonima that we are working for, so we have to sit and make the 4 hours and the 8 hours count. But we go beyond the 8 hours because the lady in Bogonima needs access to electricity, she needs access to water, she needs access to sanitation, she also needs access to ICT infrastructure. So it means that as a country, we must decide strategies that we can make the entire country accessible by digital network. That means I don't have to climb in a tree when I reach to Lofa to get network to call or have access to the internet. So we have to decide the modalities, how speakers, how we can boost internet connectivity through automation. That is what we're discussing. Environment and climate change. We cannot discuss all of these things without looking at the environmental day. Yesterday, I think yesterday the cloud was dark around 6 p.m. and it's December. Normally dry season starts in November. According to our old history, by November 15, we are falling in the dry season. And because of that, we have to reorder our work and redesign our infrastructure to accommodate the ever-changing climates of the world. So it means that our design must conform to climate change. It means that our work, our building must conform to climate change. So if we look at, when we say housing and social infrastructure, today most people build along low-lying areas. And they don't even understand the implications that it will cost them to build on low-lying areas. So you must first understand that special development will show you the flood-prone areas in Muscarado County, in Grand Bassa, that if you have to build in the areas, the building must conform to certain norms and standards that will be communicated. So those are the things that will say environment and climate change. We're not just talking about everyday clean and EPA. EPA goes beyond just monitoring the environmental consequences. It means that public works in EPA must work in an integrated approach to ensure that your money you invest can be done in a sustainable manner. And that is what we are trying to achieve at the conference, to make sure we can use an integrated front for national development. So we talk about the conference, we talk about the topics for the conference. I will tell you the objective of the conference. 1, assessing current shortcomings across sector and priority projects with high impact potential. We know we have a lot of shortcomings. But how can we improve on those shortcomings if we don't analyze what they are? Looking at other regional bodies that have done, other regional countries that have done that, or other international bodies that have done that. So you first assess yourself. What am I doing wrong? And then you learn from those mistakes and try to improve on them by saying that these are the projects that we think that have high priority and high impact. For example, we hear about the Bakave Clone project. It's all part of the coastal corridor. But why is that project so important? And why is the bridge across the Kampala River connected to Africa so important? These are all high priority projects because it means that for the Trans-ECOWAS corridor, we are linking Liberia to other countries in Africa, making it accessible by roads. You and I, maybe we can afford to buy a plane ticket, but there are a lot of people who want to do business that cannot have access to get on a plane and go. But if you have a road that is accessible from here to Bogola direct, and the person can drive from Bogola and come all the way to Freeport and go to the Kenya corridor and go straight to Africa by the southeast, the coastal corridor, it makes it easier for transportation and reduce transportation time and reduce the logistic costs for you to move your goods, especially when the road is made accessible. So those are the things that we are talking about for high impact projects. Imagine what it will take for the government to invest in telecommunication sector that today you hear about Starlink being placed in schools in the across Liberia. It means that if I sit in Maryland, for example, or I go to Bakave or go to Butuo or Ban. If I'm in a class unit, if I have access to internet, that means I have access to the rest of the world. I can go online, I can research, and I will have adequate knowledge of the subject matter that I want to pursue as a career objective. Those are the things that we are talking about for the National Infrastructure Conference. engaging international investors and development partners to fund critical infrastructure initiatives. You know, most often when people come to you and ask you, they can ask you, what are your programs? What activities do align that we can invest in? If you don't have that, you'll be wasting your time. So you as a country must define high priority projects that you want to pursue investment in the next 5 years. That is why it's critical for, you see, everybody notion that 5 years strategic plan. It's not because people want to just be on the media for announcing their strategic plan. It's because people have a clear, defined path that people can come and look into your document and say, this is how you want to finance the road. These are critical corridors I want to invest in. And that is what we want to achieve after this conference. Thirdly, highlighting innovative, climate-resilient, and inclusive development practices in line with global standards. So after this conference, we hope we can get some policies and documents that will make us to be in par with, because we already told you we are aligning the outcome of these to the agenda for Africa 2063. We are aligning the outcome of this to the SDGs goals 2030. So this is not just another conference. This is to redefine infrastructure landscape in Nigeria by aligning international frameworks, leveraging regional successes, and fostering strategic partnership. The conference will serve as a blueprint for sustainable and inclusive development. And then outcome will not only address challenges but also position Nigeria as a regional leader in resilience, infrastructure, planning, and implementation. When is this conference? Due to the president-based schedule, we have to shift the conference from December 9 to the 12th. It should have been this week, but it was postponed from January 19 to the 23rd. The venue remains the same, Dansa, Nimba County at Jackie's Guest House. We have a lot of questions concerning who can attend. We invite their partners, we invite their other people, other stakeholders to attend the conference. And we have been having calls on the general public. We are revisiting our strategies to see if we can allow additional people from the public to attend the conference, but that will be communicated in the soonest possible time. So we hope the information we provided for the conference is beneficial to the public, because we don't want to be another news that this is just something that people want to go and just sit 5 days in Ghana discussing nothing, because that's how they normally say it. But this is not just an ordinary conference. These are things that we have taken our time to analyze and plan. So the discussion, the outcome of this conference can drive national development. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
I want to thank the two officials that I'm sure they spoke to very important issues. The infrastructure conference of the country, the first in decades and decades and decades. Like she said, will help us do the right thing and change the outlook of this country. I know most time when we talk about youth and sport, everybody talking about football, we don't know how the youth are. I know the minister is giving you an adequate snapshot of what they're doing. Minister Cole has said, upon walking into the ministry, that just from the surface, he said, oh, I'm impressed with what I see. So when the press conference finished, I want to tour your building before I leave. Which we granted already. What I wanted to say before you take your question, all of you, or some of you, if the place is too narrow, I invited to join me as I do a tour with the minister. Is a continuation of the press conference. Yes, you're going to do that one and no people for you. So we'll take the question, but before then, let me recognize my friend and brother. He's my Catholic brother, he's my native St. John brother, the former superintendent for River G County. the Honorable Philip, you're welcome.
Thank you.
This is Mika.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you pass around. Welcome. Let's take it
So my name is James and I am a report of the Joy Apple Government County. And my questions go to the
If you taking question, you get on the line. We don't want any of you jumping there. Find somebody to meet and where it will stop. All right.
all
You want to ask
resources
question,
so
you
much.
get there. Because when you black the thing, you will not come there. You want to do it, get there now for the start.
Officer, thank you so much for following across the country with our reports and review developments and spoke about. But basically, the outcome of my county, the issues are affecting with clubhouse, optional have to do with applications for the finances required to report for teams in the various counties. When you spoke, and I heard you saying anything about the allocations to various teams in the various counties, but that is causing confusions in other places. Would you mind informing the people how it's allocated to each county, to each counties?
Thank you. My name is Yomar Kuna and I work with DNews Liberia. Our minister, you talk about, this
Two ministers here.
Stan, our minister Piah, talk about the Stan issue. Recently, Stan announced that the protest will be at the grounds of the executive mansion. How concerned is this to the government?
Yes, so my name is Joseph Saif and I'm the director of the newspaper. My question goes to the Deputy Minister. The infrastructure conference is to give a clear roadmap on our infrastructure. But looking at our nation, the capital, we have a lot of unfinished buildings that is in our capital. You have schools now that is now operating. So would this conference take into account to see how best we can have a picture or new picture of our capital? Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Jackson Siafai, I'm representing the Cycling newspaper. My question goes to Minister Mangala. About a few months ago, there was an incident at your ministry in which your deputy minister was allegedly involved in sexual misconduct, rape, on a minor. So, can you speak to that in your standing position on that? And the next question,
Is it for different president or the same president? For different president?
I love the work, the president put our country on stage when he went to the US and he was praised by the president. Many other countries want to go to the country, Liberia. But then, that goes to the Ministry of Public Work. In terms of city planning, for it to match with urbanization and development, we still have structures within the city that doesn't represent the city. What is the Ministry of Public Work doing in terms of city planning to make sure that our cities have well-pliable movements and street and make sure that we got good structures into place?
Thanks for coming. For this next James and I work for Sakati. To the Ministry of Public Work. What are the biggest challenges facing rural development today and how do you think anything is solved?
My name is Joseph Sadi and I'm from the from the TV. So, this is cool panel. In your deliberation, for me, I'm mostly interested in sports, especially grassroots football. And we didn't hear anything of such. So, if there are any information, essentially over, what have been the mission involvement in the grassroots football?
So, my name is Peace News and I work for EOT. I work for EOT online television. My question is directed to the Minister of Information. Honourable Minister, during your government recent homecoming, you noted that my friend noticed that there was a commercial motorcyclist community party homecoming. This Saturday noticed that there was commercial motorcyclists transporting at the same cemetery source in support of the unity party. I've really concerned with something we did not see anyway, something we did not see during the CDC homecoming. want to know as well the bomb place when Musa place have been lifted. Yes. A CDC groundbreaking, like I said. Okay. Sorry for that. So, Sunday we did not see during the CDC groundbreaking. I've been saying as well. Musa place, commercial Musa place, the bomb in place when they have been lifted. If they know. While the commercial Musa place transporting pilots, yes. When was the announcement made?
There's somebody there?
So that's it.
So 3 questions, and the first one has to do with financial allocation to counties participating in the national county meeting. Good question. So each county will receive as contribution from the government 15,000 United States dollars. We have already disbursed the first tranche, which is 10,000 US dollars. And the 5,000 will be disbursed after the preliminary round. So yes, 15,000 per county. The issue of this rape allegation, let me just inform you that before even I got to know about it, this matter was already with the Liberia National Police. I think that's the best place. So once police now have been handling it, the Justice Ministry, in collaboration with gender, even suppose we really had nothing to do with this investigation in the London. We cooperated with allowing access, but beyond that, we cannot be involved directly with the investigation. And so I believe the Justice Ministry will speak to where we are with the whole allegation thing. We are really busy with our work, ensuring that the government or the ministry will continue even after those challenging times. So when you say you were interested in sports, but later when you narrow it to football, and Minister Piah sounded a caveat here not to limit the ministry to football. And every time I go out, I like to be careful so as not to be seen as the ministry of football. And that is even exacerbated by the fact that the ministry is in the football field. So most times people grade us just by low-star performance or that. But there are 34 sporting federations that we work with. 34. Handball, volleyball, track and field, athletics. You have taekwondo, amputee, deaf and dumb, Liberia wheelchair, basketball. I mean, you name it. Judo Federation. There are 34 of them. And we've been trying to make sure that all of them will have their turn. For the first time this year, we're going to register the Liberia Wheelchair Basketball Federation. And for the first time in this country's history, they represented Liberia in South Africa. It was so exciting. The deaf and dumb were recently in Abuja, Nigeria, participating in the ECOWAS tournament. They came third. The amputees won't forget it. They can go welcome and just win it for ease. So grassroots football is actually under the federation, the Liberia Football Association. So what we do, we provide subsidy support to the Liberia Football Association for football development in terms of the national teams. So since they are running the national team, we provide support, especially when they have to participate in competitions. So that's the kind of support. The ministry does not participate in the technical running of football or any sport. That is strictly left with the federation. So we provide support to the federation and they run the program. So the FA has very good grassroots program for Honor 12, Honor 8, Honor 15, Honor 18, and you name it. All we do, once they get ripe and they sit down, they qualify to represent Liberia. as a national team, then we also provide the kind of support. But the FA has been doing well through their FIFA Forward 2.0 project. They have also been financing some of the operations of the running of grassroots football. So to get more details on the grassroots football development, feel free to contact the Liberia Football Association. But we are in collaboration with them, and we provide the kind of support, especially when they have to do with representation of these in the, or to represent Liberia as the national team level. Thank you.
So once guys want to hear about me, so I'll try to do small teaching to the big. Rural challenges. And if you've been to the leeward counties, you can definitely, the challenges are very visible. Accessibility, lack of water and sanitation, access to social services. So there are schools, but the access to them is really difficult. So these are the challenges that we have. And with our mega budget allocation, our basic attention has been given to primary road corridor, making sure primary road corridors were accessible. But there are several other projects that commensurate government's efforts to support these developments in the county for rural development. For example, there's a project called the ACDB Project Accelerated Community Development Program at the UNDP that is financed by the Liberian government through UNDP. That project supports water and sanitation in rural communities, and currently they're doing it in 3 counties: Riverside, Bajo, and Cape Mount. Then there's the agriculture program at the Ministry of Agriculture supported by IFA. That program supports rural connectivity as part of the agricultural sustainability program. So the Ministry of Public Works supports the Ministry of Agriculture by providing technical assistance to the Ministry of Agriculture under the rural program to support the farmers, so farm to market road. Additionally, at the Ministry of Public Works, we have a program that is supported by the Swedish Embassy in Monrovia, and it's called the Village Access Road Program. That program, our road classification is linked into 3 categories: primary, secondary, and feeder roads. But there's a missing link. There are still people in small villages that don't have access to the feeder roads. So that program supports the feeder road, the village, to have access to the feeder road by using roads that tricycles can bridge with planks and use it for tricycle to move the produce from the farm to the feeder road. So those are programs. Although the many challenges that we have programs that are being supported by other agencies that support those to help to alleviate the challenges. The second one was on 2 questions were on special development and city planning. And I would like to tread carefully because the city government is by legislation on each county. So I will tread carefully, but I will speak as someone who once served as the National Zoning Director for Local Liberia. So first thing, few weeks ago we were at the Liberian Senate, public hearing on the National Zoning Law. Most people do not know the National Zoning Law was done in 1958. That I don't know how many years before I was even born. So the city of Monrovia itself was not constructed, it was not built to inhabit 1.5 million people. So we have rural to urban migration. That's why I'm going to do a little bit of teaching here. We have rural to urban migration because the lack of facilities in the rural counties, or even though they have tried to upgrade the rural cities, but a lot of people move to the city capital, putting a strain on the already congested infrastructure that we have. So now you have people building in the wetlands that put a strain on the drainage system. You have people constructing illegal structures. So the new zoning law seeks to address almost all of these things by coming up with a special development plan. That program is being supported by the World Bank through a project called the Liberian Urban Resilience Project. the project seeks to address one, drainage infrastructure in Monrovia and its environment. So Monrovia is now known, there's a place called Greater Monrovia, even though it's not legislated yet. But Greater Monrovia is from St. Paul's Bridge to town all the way to Omega Market and on RI Highway to Arrow. So it encompasses Pinsio City, Monrovia City, and all the township that falls within the boundaries. So that program supports also 3 other additional cities to come up with special development map, rezoning map. So while we can address the issue of so under the project that the conference that I spoke about, it also seeks to address financing for old and damaged public buildings, Ducor, Hotel Africa, and other buildings. So we have, what we did at the regional was we collected those drawings and kind of digitized those drawings to put it into current status, to have digital files for those drawings. So it's not that it's being unleft or not thought about. The process is that that's the hardware person when they ask in the minister always say, when they actually say, we have all these old buildings, what are we going to do with it? But you need financing to rehabilitate those buildings, and in our budget is so we can put that we need to do public-private partnership. That's why we see there's a whole plan that we come up with after the conference that we will try to present as a post-conference evaluation to this body. So that is on special development, and I hope I try to address the question. But moreover, the city have a legal responsibility by the Monrovia City Corporation and PZ City Corporation to uphold the sanity of the city. The Ministry of Public Works serves as the infrastructure under construct, build, and maintain government public infrastructure. But with the passing of the Decentralization Act, there are other responsibilities that lies with the local governments. While we supervise most of the development activities with other line ministry agencies, and we monitor them, you also, the city government, always have the rights. So sometimes it's good to go back and research on what are the ordinances of the city government, what are the limitations, and what the role and responsibility of the Ministry of Public Works. So having said that, thank you, and I submit.
Is the government concerned about any protest? What you call it, call it demonstration or whatever you call it. The CA has the right to assemble, but then there are requirements that you always have to meet. So we want to encourage those people to assemble, to spend the one and call it to meet those requirements. But if you're specifically concerned about the desire to use the executive mansion for protest, the executive mansion is not a protest ground, and why people's right to assemble for protest will be respected, it will not be allowed in the executive mansion. And I hope that answers your question. As a UPist myself, I arrived at the UP homecoming after 3. At the time of my arrival, I did not see motorcyclists transporting people. So I wouldn't want to speak to something that I did not see. But I will encourage you, if you are convinced that there were motorcyclists using the restricted zones, I encourage you to talk to the police IG. The measures were imposed by them, and they can answer questions appertaining to the violation of, if there are any. I think those are the 2 questions. I hope questions are answered. We want to move quickly to do our tour of the minister so that they can go and be there on board. Thank you for coming as always. We hope to be back here on Tuesday. still doing our Christmas celebration, so hopefully when we come back on Tuesday, the hall will look much more different from what it is currently. Thank you. Oh,
So
that was very close.
for the first briefing here at Lincoln, information according to so to the president by service Councilor Bagula highlighted national set to begin Sunday, December 4th, 2025 across Liberia. The updates focus on covering logistics arrangement.
What is fellow from school United?
Arrangement.
Kobangaru, they both.
So all the flows, this is called new electrical water. First started from the conference room. If you haven't come here, they won't think of them one of the most deployable offices that you can. Yeah, these are one racking, raw, all here. These are brand new tires, just made. As part of the renovation. So when I was deputy minister here, this was my office. But under this current arrangement, we give it to an assistant minister to enjoy comfort. Well, I think who used to be here. Assistant Minister for Information Services. So saying he declared for Formula Acting, that is where Formula 6. The star right out there. So now you can be like this, everything here is completely different. It's part of the refurbishment work. What is deputy? No, she was instrumental in the river. All the doors. All the offices you see those are all the doors. All lights, all need to be for the first time. All the doors are brand new doors.
Oh, you want to carry the bed in my office?
Where I want to show you that. Not carry you on the Hello.
All the journalists can walk out for country.
Ah, okay.
Animation information. This is our
That's most times the absence of the agreement. So when I was here, of course, there's always been administration. Norris 12 used to say, the beautiful administration. I like what that is. Yes, you see this man. It was good that he forced us to come here. They think that they're doing my office. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, they wore him and played their sport. I get it when I get instruction. I'm gonna get it all on the wall. They see administration people.
No, that's sample.
That's simple.
It's good, man.
So, is the office of education right there?
Yeah, when I see his front office.
Okay.
So let's go down first.
So now this is the minister.
So this conference room is the conference room. The whole those things out there were removed. This one. Again, all the doors were replaced. What will you pay for me? So this is the minister conference room. It's been here forever. The door you see there, door used to be there, the ordinary door. These are brand new, different kind of glass door. You see the door system, I mean that glass system that is installed. Everything here new, the conference table, chairs around it. The whole thing used to be just ceiling tile. Ordinary ceiling tile with 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes on it. So everything you see here about the renovation, it was just done. Yeah, do the only one doing that as well. Yeah? Piah up. Yeah, open that door. Open that door. So this staff office too is the same thing. There's a big city town all around here, but we're trying to change new decks, new everything.
So this is the office of the minister.
Yeah, so of course the same way when we came here, this was just ordinary sitting tower. Minister, where the minister come chief? Ordinary sitting tower, one fluorescent bulb here, one here, one on the other side. Took it down, did a gypsum bulb, re-electrifying. Just in the morning, the instruction was given. The thing the minute there behind me, he do my own. So I'm going to put the same thing on the wall. So they put it on this side. On that side, the reason is because you see how the wall looks. When it's raining, as it rains to do outside there, the thing is there. So when we use that, it will cover it, it will be protected. So even water system, but not yet. The bathroom over there, I used to have one big drum there. So when I use the bathroom, I have to take a bucket to do it. I guess to experiment, somebody can go there. One or two of you go there and see something. Now you're pressed now. You're pressed now. Yeah, you're pressed now. Because water and sewer is working on restoring water, but we didn't wait for that. The borehole. Yeah, we did borehole. Because we never had access to water. Of course, I was before broken Catholic, so that's why you see my stuff there with a late pope. Yeah. You see on top of that stone over there, the symbol out there is symbol of the Knights of St. John. In the middle yeah, so there was part of the door over there, for example, there used to be an ordinary flower door. All the doors you see like so you have to oh my man, that bitch just there run over here.
I'm a Cali, but I can't join it.
So the one you can see that when it's still going they just got to doing the tap. Who's up there? Yeah, Sister Minister for me. That shit. Yeah.
Hello, Minister. How are you?
So this is her office. Doing partition, they get the star. As you can see, the ceilings are all new. They get the ceiling. You don't want to tell me? I went over it. But God bless you. God bless everyone. You're all going to okay everything. Good luck So it's the same thing, there's the final floor, but this floor was basically about most of the offices in the ordinary ceiling type, but even though you make research, you can do everything down. When you count the floor down, you access to it. So we did a whole addition, but also electrify the place, recondition the offices here, so that see all these changes recently tied. This space has been a workstation for Lina. Lina? Yes, there's a workstation for them. Wow. Well, it's still in progress here. That's what we're doing there when I do the place. Oh, Chopin is. Yeah, he's the director.
So this place is mostly a newsroom for the news agency. So it's still ongoing.
Maybe my office where we're using the office. Part of the renovation work is remaking all these bathrooms that new bathrooms. When it's still on, it's still front of the house there, but all the commodes here are brand new commodes. In all the bathrooms, the tiling, everything. They're still finalizing work on this other bathroom, but we should have shown the other one down. All the bathrooms are restored and they are workable now. All the floors. What you got to talk about the minute? You gotta go take it to time. Now who offered that? Newsroom. All right. So this place is good at the brought me here. Cool. This place is the newspaper will run New Liberia, but this was one of the worst offices here. And they're sitting down here, they can say it. All the time you see in the ground here were just made. These ceilings, because the whole top of the building was leaking. So all the ceilings were messed up for leakage. At least it's reconditioned, put new tire here. We get additional new decks for them, especially as we're in the next budget here to make them more comfortable. To say Charlie, I think you go eat. Charlie? Yeah. How are you, sir? Very comfortable. Veteran, you go say Charlie? Yeah, that's all right. Oh, man. This office also, y'all go there, it was completely remade. There's a procurement office. You can be procurement there, up and over there. Everything here was redone. I think they had a partition using ceiling tags. You see what it is now. The ceiling, the proper partitioning, you know, make it look more like a professional work environment now. Procurement just do it better. They're not driving. It's also new decks. Of course. One of the things we were blessed before, we didn't have PSRP. Most of the ministers who were coming, they were more concerned about where they were sitting. So the young lady who is the senior minister for new media, everything you see in the office, she did it on her own. Hey.
Yeah, for technical services.
Okay. I'm not you. So everything you see here, everything you see here, she did it on her own. Yeah,
I enjoy talking.
Yeah, enjoy it. Set up her own office, repair her own office, all that you see on the wall,
Everything here she did a type of life she has. As we're doing the refurbishment, she said she preferred the name because she loved what she put up there. But this was an office being used for something else. And once we brought her here, said this is where you are, from up there to in here, she did everything. Financed it herself on behalf of the government. Before we started the renovation, she said, no, my office, all right. Just as you see in the wall, everything. Me and Louisa. Yeah. No, absolutely. The whole place was a wide open place with rusted iron bars all over. They just put the ceiling work there. They did that window. You see on the deck, only they use the thinner to clean it because it's a brand new window. So as you can see, they're still doing that work. They just covered the place with ceiling. And on this side, everything here was, this place was a completely abandoned place. All the ceiling you see here, they are brand new. They're doing tiling. So it was a completely abandoned place. All the way walking through here. You see, they made new doors. We were using places for storage. They were painted. Yeah, they bring painting, something. Yeah. Painting. But like I said, the whole portion was coming from nothing to actually was abandoned. It was just a open wild place. Yeah. Sit down with the door, it got paint on it. Because they're doing the painting. So this whole abandoned space, they have all this, I have to call it scaffold. Yes. I already wanted to do somewhere they had the scaffold, everything, or they get left it that open. Yeah. So what we have done, all the tiles here, they just put it on, they changed all the tiles. These places were partitioned, they built a wall, everything to break it into offices. So they created 2 offices over there and 1 here. But the entire was then wide open. We transformed the whole place into offices, bathroom and 9 years before. They have created the 2 bathrooms, we're still working on it. The whole city, the electrical system, everything you see here was just completely redone. So this was... What's the name of your company?
Lynn Incorporated.
Huh?
Lynn Incorporated.
Lynn?
Yes.
Thank you for the job, boy. That's good, thank you. So I'm told before then, the place to be abandoned used to be the graphic art section. But completely abandoned. So what we've done, created 3 offices in here, 2 bathrooms. That stuff I asked you for the other time that they want to use it to take the lid to put it outside, put it on the wall so that it can be removed from here. He has to tell me now when they're ready, then you will give it also come take it. Yeah, we'll give it also. Yeah.
There's no fee at that, right?
No. I only have transport here. So these are our own internal studios. This is a studio here, large now. Yeah. And then the people who can sing the Liberia Association of Gospel Musical Artists will get an office here.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, we'll get an office here. That person will go to the last floor.
Mr. Lando.
So back on the list of the floor. The list is first floor. So this is the new mic of the Liberia the ongoing renovation work is almost 90% completed.
Just walking through. So this is the last floor that you can see from what all the doors you see with all the doors are brand new doors. The JC bowl was just done like all the other floors.
all the line, wall lines, everything here was just done. Yeah. All the places were just done. I think they got some work to do in here, but those are all built. All right, they are about to remove these rods as the assistant minister for ongoing assistant minister for culture, because we now have a lot of injured. You're talking about injured, these are the injured office.
So where's she going now?
She'll be going to the US. Washington, DC. Yeah. To our embassy there.
Okay.
So, yeah, as of though, that door is about to be changed. They are removing this entire rod. And for now, the tire on here is good, so we just replace it with another brand new tire. But everything you see here was done as part of the renovation, just to replace the door there. They replace the front door, and then somebody else will use it as you go, because this was our office that we not in the offices. It's vacant. Yeah, tourism gone. So, and most of them, their offices were down here so large. Whole space down there, we're thinking of what we're doing. Yeah. We're going down, to just show something. From there, let's go to the basement. So this one is street where I work there for, and I didn't do stuff. I didn't know it. I only got to know after I came back as minister. So the whole portion of it is a basement that has been abandoned. So we're doing some work there, not as what we did over there, because basement, you know, even in American basement, therefore, you want to party, you want to So in the basement, my director for the Bureau of Communication, Agada Thompson, who you know.
Yeah.
We have a restaurant, a canteen here. Yeah, so she runs it. Yeah. How you doing? Yeah, she runs it here. Ansu. Ansu? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, okay, I'll call you right back. Do something like a chef here.
So this is the basement.
So, who come here? The father of family? We throw all these things away and they've been having here forever.
There are more rooms than we thought.
Yeah, that's a lot of room.
All the material I was taking were still here. I have more rooms than.
These are complete storeroom. He comes as we're replacing them, you know, all the doors. As I told you, we got new doors, we moved doors all year. GSA will come and you don't know more about that. Yeah, he was there before.
The thing with the
yeah, so I didn't know that. I didn't know we had this. So while we
as well. So once again, I just joined us. I would like to say welcome for those of you who are following. I would like to say
these are those who actually these are those taken down from some of the offices. These things were called those. Jesus. Yeah. Where is adequate? Where after the office?
Tell you what.
So, if you are entering the plane before you receive fever, right now what we're doing to make it more quick, we'll paint everywhere you see here, including the top of it, everything.
I only did the pictures before.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, they've been here their whole life. So if they didn't have it, then you don't have it.
When you see some of the documentary, you will not eat for a day. Yeah.
But this is just clearly, you know.
So when I came also, no generator in the building.
And it was during the most difficult period in LEC life. Yeah. No current. No current. You remember where you used to talk about the sweating? Right. We came, we made the generator run, we restored it, and then through our relationship with Money Captain, we were able to get a brand new generator, which is in there. So that when current goes now, we can just switch. Before then, when current gone, then nothing we can do. So the generator room is over there. Now, there'll be a second phase to this work. And that second phase will cover the whole outside of the building in the next budget year. We're trying to finalize all the inside work. The next budget year, proper landscaping. And I call it that they can put on the wall? No, not potting. Not POP. Some kind of thing they can put on the wall that's starting from painting it. Wallpaper. That's not anything. Huh? No, not pin. I'm looking at tile or by not tile. Some people can put tile on it, but they won't put it not tile. They call it aloe something. Ali bomb. We'll put ali bomb on it. When you put an ali bomb on it, year in year, if you put a bread quality of ali bomb on it, you don't have to paint. When you did it, you just bring starch and just wipe it. No painting, it will remain there forever. That's the target for the next budget year, and then we would have restored the place completely. The reason why we did it, and the reason why the government bought into it at PSRP is because this building is owned by the government. It's not one of the places we rented. This is government-owned property. But it has been allowed to be dilapidated for the past several decades. We saw the need to restore it to an appreciable and respectable level. That's in addition to the work we do. That is our contribution as a team here to the government rescue agenda, because an abandoned and decadent institution is being rescued. This is pure innovation. Yeah, but the question why is it so far 170? Always been went to the entrance.
Don't use it. It's not a waste because it's a government property, so it's not going to be forever. So, yeah, saw the need, so work along. There's a way to run.
So for the beginning, we came, even chairs of procedure, so running chairs. So we went and bought these airport-like seats. And they were going to be able to sit down. The glass you see there, we just restore a part of the ongoing work. You know, so I don't even want to see that again. After we were cool. So they got to get it out. So this one with it? Yeah, it's a reception area. So you come before you reach to where you should go. This is where they come. They also have a noise system over here. Nowhere to sit down. So install these seats. Put in television. They just told me the door is an issue, so they will work on it here.
Let's go.
But one of the first things we did was the minister. When did the minister go in? All right, when we came, when I was here, we had a little bulletin board here. We had bulletin, maybe a couple of stuff was, when I came, it was abandoned. It's not being used for anything, social dust, zero. So we thought to ourselves, what do we do? We take it down. We don't need bulletin board. Took it down and decided to create what we call an art gallery. The initial one we did was not too bad, but it was not up to the class, and it was the good work of Julie Annie who did it for us. But because of the renovation, we thought we should elevate them. So the whole stuff was just placed there. Julie and her team coming. The artifacts are not properly arranged. She knows how to do it. The first time they arranged. So she's going to come by. They're going to put them in these places properly with their all labels, everything on it. So when you come, you look at, nobody got to explain to you. When you come, you know this is an Liberian culture costume. This is this. So you can be a tour person on your own.
Because of the renovation, we're moving all these things that we prepare back and forth. So you can see that we need to do some final touching with painting for put it back. So the art gallery remains. So you got some of the artifacts that were not put up because we didn't come. At the time we thought it was really because we were Minister of Information Culture. When you arrive here, nothing to introduce you that you're in a cultural environment. So we did was not culturally going on. It's part of the it's part of the design of the ministry. You know. So the entry itself here, and although the glass are all broken, protected by iron bars. So the whole entrance door you see here, which you know, when you come here, the new one just been installed. We not put iron bar there because it spoil the beauty of it. No, when you outside, just use that. Oh, okay, all right. So when you come in, the man inside there is looking at you. But you can see anybody inside. Yeah. You know who coming. So this one was just done. So like I said, the next phase of the work will focus on the outside. The place you saw landing up Black Post Hall, we intend to do a parking lot there. Yeah, the buses are not here yet, but we intend to get it for market. So yeah, you can also add that. But two 36-seater buses for the employees. One 18-seater bus for the National Culture Troop. A trigger was one for the tourism who were dealing with the tourism authorities so they can use it. Among the cars we leave for all the future years we're certified. The only car that we say, my car, over 5 years, I think we're bought by Eugene number. No other car yet. But part of what we're doing, we have 3 cars already for the future use. The President promised to give us this stuff we have this, but he does that. The rest of the ministers will have something to be moving with. But budget by budget will show that when a new government comes, whoever it is, the minister is coming to take over this recording. You don't experience what I experience. And you already coming into an environment that is prepared for it. So, thank you for helping me to go on this place. Oh, okay. So, even the gate you see over there, it was just one-sided, right? One entry. You can't just open it on one side. We expanded it, put a pillar in the middle and make it in a way that you have an entry and exit. Then for the first time in, tell the minister of existing, we have a security. So it's on the security post saying up here, be to the gate where you are needed the most. So we have that security booth there. Christmas decoration is going on to the whole of Christmas tree there. When you come in there, you see it and you know Nika is alive. So because LEC is doing well, what we've done, because you got to put token in the middle. So the light on the fence is connected from the overall power. So when we knock out, we cut all the lights in the building on, but light will remain on the fence. Yeah. So that's how we arrange it. I want to change it to my village. Oh, okay. So I can talk to the minister. He wanted this tour because he was impressed by why he saw. Like even outside, even though we're doing outside well later, but the about to paint this whole web portion you see looking at, we painted grey. And on the edge of it, the touch was black. So by the time you come back here, 2-3 days, the whole place you see looking well, we painted that gray. The edge of it remains black. Then we are finished with what we have to do. And the president has just shown me. Well, I'm really impressed with what I see. I know how the Ministry of Information building used to look like. So, I mean, I'm not strange to it. But when I entered here today, I saw serious development, serious improvement. I want to commend Minister Piah and team. They have done extremely well.
So have you aligned it with the rescue mission?
I mean,
because Brown, the first minister that instituted this Mika stuff platform, he did say that the Ministry of Information was a sleeping giant, a sleeping giant, so to speak. How do you reconcile that with what's happening now?
Well, the minister has defined rescue in different contexts now. Not just rescuing human beings, but the building has been rescued. And that's what he said. But guess what? Simultaneously, we also following suit.
But I learned something today. You go at the SKD complex, I think you will see some weapons that look very attractive now, right?
Sure.
You seen it? I'm learning certain things.
Okay.
When I passed here several times and I saw the information ministry building and I saw the mines and energy, I challenged myself.
So jovially, you are grading other people in a press conference. The military grading you jovially. He said the grading doesn't matter what you can do on ground. So having toward this facility.
No, information ministry always got A+, always.
Okay.
So for me, I don't like to put any grading business because the minister has been very exceptional. But what I want to say is, what I learned from him, because I used to just follow just the budget lines I had to do with repair and maintenance, civil work. But I'm learning from him that you can also make it a project. And once you convince the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, then it can be approved. I'm going to emulate that for my colleagues so that the SKD complex can be placed on a similar category. Because what we're doing on our own, the money there is small, so that's why you see we doing it in piecemeal. But once you do it on a certified PSRP with the project, you can implement even on a larger scale. And so I'm impressed with this. I'm happy. Government initiative, not waiting for outsiders to come and assist. And it takes leadership to do what Mr. Piah has done. Because he has to provide the guidance, provide the leadership, and his team will follow. You know, I always tell people, even from childhood, I used to like giving eyes right. But the man who gives the eyes right, people don't know it's important. But you are the leader. Whatever you do, others will follow. When you say left, everyone will do the same left. Right, the same thing. And on you go. So the leader, the man who gave me the eyes right here is Mr. Piah. And I see that all of his colleagues are emulating and following suit, providing the support. I'm also happy with the level of camaraderie I'm looking at with he and his deputy ministers, assistant ministers. I'm really impressed. I'm happy.
So what have you to send to your other colleagues in the Federal Mission Agency?
Well, I know my colleagues, other ministries are also doing their part. Everyone is doing. That's why we have coordination meetings regularly. That's why we have a single way of reporting under the public management stuff that we're going through under the service delivery charter, synchronized versions for all ministries. And so we similarly doing just what you see happening here variously. But what I want to encourage them to do is not just look at the implementation of what we want to do, but to also look at the environment. Because the environment, when you make it conducive for the employees, they feel very elated, they feel motivated, and they want to work.
What did you say? Others are saying that proximity to the presidency. That was
all of us have proximity. Out of almost 5 million people to be among the 18 or 19 that can sit with the president regularly. I mean, you have proximity too. But what he's doing is being innovative, and I think it's a good thing. You always want to commend people for their own innovation. I'm happy with him. I'm happy with his innovation. Happy with his leadership. Happy for you as employees of the Ministry of Information, and harness whatever you have. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the tour. Thank you.
So that's it. Some information Jerolinmek alongside the Minister of Council of So once I would like to say thank you for since I joined this live broadcast, I would like to encourage you to please like, share, and follow this live broadcast. Until then, who join us next week for another story of information recently. So once again, my name is Masiame calling. Bye from my end.